All right, what is up, everybody? We are live right after not right after the Kansas race, but after the Kansas race, where Ross Chastain was able to hold off William Byron, who made a late run after a handful of cautions there toward the end of the race. William Byron does end up finishing second after that late run. Martin Truex Jr. Let me get pull the old microphone here closer. Martin Truex Jr. does finish in third place. He had the lead there at the end for a brief moment before getting passed by Ross Chastain on that either last or second to last restart. Then you got Ryan Blaney finishing in fourth here. Good run for him. But Martin Truex Jr., of course, not in the playoffs anymore. And Ross Chastain wasn't in the playoffs at all this season. First win for Ross Chastain this season as well. Ty Gibbs finishing fifth, another playoff eliminated driver. Alex Bowman continues his strong run ever since being on the hot seat. Let's see. Christopher Bell finishes in seventh here. He did lead the most laps at 122. So led the most laps, but then touched that wall and was never really in contention after that. Denny Hamlin had some strong, at least some good speed, we'll say, early on, but couldn't really capitalize on it. You heard him on the radio talking about he couldn't pass cars, so don't lose him track position. So that mishap on pit road sort of sealed his day, as he wasn't able to pass cars as easily as some of the others with speed. Chase Elliott started shotgun on the field, had to change the engine because they found some type of valve train issue. And Chase Elliott there finishing in ninth place. Zane Smith finishing in 10th place. Another good run for Zane Smith. Allegedly going to front row. We'll see if that pans out, but bright future, no matter where he's going. He's putting some strong runs together here in the second half of his rookie campaign. Chris Buescher finishing 11th place. Austin Dillon with a 12th place finish there. Amigo number 99 finishing in 13th, and that's going to be big for him because throughout this day he struggled, so they did find at least some good enough speed to finish 13th here at the end. Joey Logano ends up in 14th place. Corey LaJoie, 15th place in the Rick Ware Racing number 51 in his first effort with them. And if you're keeping score at home, in the first race, he outfinishes his previous car. So if you're keeping score at home, right now it's Corey LaJoie 1, Justin Haley 0. Well, I guess that'll be something fun to track if you guys want to keep up with it throughout the rest of the season. Ryan Preece ends up in 16th. Another good run for Ryan Preece. Bubba Wallace in 17th here. Noah Gragson in 18th. And then here we have Kyle Busch finishing in 19th place. Had before the incident where he got into the wall by gassing up a little bit too early, the incident with him and Chase Briscoe trying to stay on the lead lap. And Kyle Busch feeling the pressure from Ross Chastain, who was behind him, tried to get to the gas too early. Wasn't much of a lane up high. Looked like there was going to be a lane up high, and Chase Briscoe, I don't know, gave him just enough room. A tricky situation. And credit to Ross Chastain, first off, for the second place car, putting him in that position, being close enough that Kyle Busch knew he couldn't waste time. And Chase Briscoe knowing he needed to stay on the lead lap to continue his playoff run. But Kyle Busch, he thought he had a lane up top and couldn't make it work. And it sort of brings into sort of the unwritten rules of NASCAR type thing. And there's several different ways of looking at it. One way of looking at it, some people are just going to see it absolutely foul because they wanted Kyle Busch to continue the win streak, and they see Chase Briscoe. They're gonna factor in all the other things Chase Briscoe has done with this, right? And not helping Chase Briscoe was later on in the race. The 77 had something to say because he caused. If you saw the 77 wreck, the 77 was blaming Chase Briscoe as well, where you got some radio traffic from him saying, I didn't hit anything, just Chase Briscoe effing sucks. He did the same thing to the 8. That was some radio communication from the 77. So Chase Briscoe is sort of not getting the benefit of the doubt, even though, depending on your perspective, he left him a lane. The other way of looking at it is saying it's fair, but I didn't really necessarily like it because he was in 26th place. You should probably give the leader a little bit more room than that, although you don't have to. Ryan Newman made a career out of not giving a whole lot of room there. And then of course, the other way of looking at it is if it wasn't for the playoffs, this probably doesn't happen at all. And then some people are going to see it as just fair. It's just a guy trying to keep his position and trying to keep himself in the race, regardless of playoffs. It's just how Chase Briscoe drives. He's a highly aggressive driver. So there's 4 or 5 different ways of looking at it, and that is the poll question. So if you want to vote on it, there it is. I did think that was an interesting. That's probably going to be one of the more interesting conversations from this race. But here, the rest of the finishing order is going to be Daniel Hemrick, 20th. Ty Dillon in his run with the 16 car finishes in 21st. Brad Keselowski, Ty Dillon, of course, announced he'll be driving the 10 car. They're getting rid of the 31. He'll be in the 10 car for Kaulig next season. Brad Keselowski, 22nd. Harrison Burton, 23rd. Chase Briscoe, 24th. Tyler Reddick, 25th. Tyler Reddick continuing to struggle in this particular deal. He won the regular season and just has not had the speed in these playoffs, sort of skating by on that regular season championship. And we'll look at the points here in just a minute because they have been updated. Kyle Larson just behind him. So another poor first race in a playoff round for Kyle Larson. He cut a tire or something at the very beginning. I heard that on the radio. I hadn't quite got back to my house from Martinsville yet. In case you're wondering why there was no pre-race, I was at Martinsville helping with the late model race. Yes, I know I said I wasn't going. Yes, a few people that watch the channel clowned me on that a little bit, or had some fun with me saying, I thought you weren't coming to this thing. So that was pretty funny at the racetrack. Todd Gilliland finishing 27th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Michael McDowell 29th, John Hunter Nemechek 30th, Kaz Grala 31st, Carson Hocevar 32nd, Justin Haley 33rd in the number 7, and he did make contact at one point. I don't know if him and the spotter had miscommunication. I think that's what somebody said, at least in the Discord. So we'll go with that. Austin Cindric, but it was definitely on the 7 car because he turned down on the 42. Austin Cindric ends up in 17th. Not good for him. He is the lowest finishing of the drivers still in the playoffs, so that's going to dig him a little bit of a hole. Then Eric Jones just had a terrible performance, but not as bad as his teammate Jimmy Johnson, who finished even lower in 36th. JJ Yaley 37th, and last place is going to be Josh Berry, who, another controversy there, as Rodney Childers, what did he say here? This is a tweet from Rodney Childers. I've seen a lot of things in my 25 years in the Cup Series, but that's the most screwed up thing I've ever seen or been involved with. All we needed was tires with air in them. How many times have we drug cars to the stall and put tires on them? Why today? So according to Rodney Childers, they just blew all 4 tires. So this is different from the Ryan Blaney situation. According to Rodney Childers, they just needed 4 tires, but the NASCAR officials or whatever forced Josh Berry out of the car. So and then towed it to the garage area. So that ended Josh Berry's day. But according to Rodney Childers, all he needed was 4 tires. And per NASCAR rule, if that is accurate, NASCAR screwed this one up, and that's what cost Josh Berry a good finish here. So interesting turn of events. We'll follow that one and see what NASCAR has to say about it, if anything, as that one continues to develop. All right, here's your point system. William Byron is your new points leader. Ryan Blaney is second. Christopher Bell, just by winning those stages, had a good race anyway, points-wise. He is in 3rd place. Kyle Larson is in 4th place. Even with the bad finish, he has enough wins that he sort of got that padding. Denny Hamlin, 5th place. Alex Bowman is in 6th. Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and then you've got the guys who I guess would be sort of cut here is going to be Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe, and Austin Cindric are going to be your guys below the cut line, minus 34 from the lead, not minus 34 to get in. So I guess let's see here, minus four for Tyler Reddick to get to the 8th position, minus 14 for Daniel Suarez. And check these numbers because, I'm doing this math live and it never works out well. It looks like about minus 21 for Chase Briscoe and minus 25 maybe ish there for Austin Cindric. So we'll see how all that plays out. All right, let's jump into the chat and see what you want to talk about. Like I said, do have the poll question up. Fair or foul, Kyle Busch? Fair, or the Chase Briscoe Kyle Busch incident? Fair, foul, fair, but I didn't like it. It doesn't happen if there are no playoffs. Right now, 9% if there are no playoffs, 34% fair, but I didn't like it. 41% saying fair, and 16% saying foul with 32 votes in. And let's get to the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Russell Dominguez, pretty stoked about the win, I'm imagining, saying LFG. What's up, PC Gone Rogue? Bowman with another great points day, won a stage. Indeed. Bowman continuing to have good runs here after being on the hot seats, quote unquote, even though he's already re signed for next season. That is Kyle Busch's season in a nutshell, says Joseph Wooten. That's actually not a bad analogy. Like Kyle Busch has looked really good at points this season. Kyle Busch has looked really bad at points this season, and you just never know. You never know how it's going to end for various situations and things like that. Kyle took responsibility for the crash, says. I do think he would probably want some more room there, and I do playoffs. Does that situation even arise in itself? And to be totally honest, it doesn't matter what Kyle Busch thinks. It's the fans are the ones that usually keep these things going for longer periods of time and stuff like that. So it is what it is, and it doesn't help that it's Chase Briscoe who has had some other things like that. So in the fans' view, a lot of fans are going to be riled up about it. Fair or foul. What a be solid race. Very happy for Beardless Ross with the win. But man, I feel for Kyle Busch. Yeah, it was cool to see sort of Ross Chastain break his winless streak. So hopefully before this season ends, we'll see Kyle Busch break his winless streak as well. Next one up is Talladega. So maybe he can break it there. Hey, y'all, I missed the race, but I just wanted to say hey and go Bills. Go Bills, Bruce Reed. Hopefully your team comes through tonight. Everybody saying what's up to Bruce. What's up, Elite? What up, BB? Solid race. Very happy for the Beardless Ross. Yeah, Beardless Ross is a different scenario. He's 31 years old. I looked it up, but he does look like he's like 25 without the beard. So he's got like sort of the 31 going on 25 look going on there. If you follow the Discord, I think that's what I said in there, something similar to it. You missed a melon win, says Bumblebee. Indeed, Melon Man wins, does get the melon smash, and he once again, according to NASCAR Chasm, ignored the 5-second rule, which NASCAR Chasm is apparently a fan of. Bruce Reed saying nice. What's up, B? Says Elite. BB, did they ever determine if Larson ran over something or tire just went soft? Yeah, I never heard anything. I think they said they cut a tire. So I'm assuming they ran over something, or maybe they had the tolerances wrong or something, but they said it was a cut tire. So we do at least know it was a cut tire. So I'm going to lean toward he ran over something. Steering too fast for Talladega, Yellowwood 500. I do not watch super speedways live anymore, says Baron. Von Weebs. Yeah, that's I think for the most part, if I wasn't doing like the live streams and stuff like that, I might not watch them live either, because then you could just fast forward through the commercials. Although going side by side, USA is going side by side more often, so you're not missing quite as much of the action. And of course, it's a super speedway race, so they are going to do side by side except for cautions. So they will have that going for them, at least on the super speedways. Yay, no overtime, says Old Home Guy. So yeah, we had a streak of NASCAR races in the playoffs where we had overtime after overtime after overtime, but this race, of course, did not go to overtime, so we got another no overtime race. Sad with Win needed that 22, but a BB stream always hits Bubs, says Russell Dominguez. So there you go, 22 needed the win there, but I'm glad the live stream can sort of lift your spirits here. And hopefully that makes your day. Josh Berry was involved in an accident. Will be NASCAR's response. I guess the rear lifting device had failed. At this point, you have to carry a jack and 4 tires. Put a Goodyear logo on it. Says Cody Ledger. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Not only for what NASCAR says, and they probably, to your point, will say something similar to that, but also if NASCAR looks at this going forward, and at least for the playoffs, maybe take a look at it at least for the playoffs, to change it for the playoffs with the playoff drivers. It's a unique situation. Just to me personally, just get rid of the damaged vehicle policy anyway. The NASCAR official could take a look at the car and say, hey, that car is either fit to go back out on track, or that car is not fit to go back out on track. I don't think that's anything out of the realm of possibility, but putting a timer on it, that really doesn't accomplish anything at all. Somebody did say the reason that they do it, they did make a good point, and I wish I remember who it was in the comments, but they made a great point. They said the reason that NASCAR probably does it is they don't want another Matt Kenseth situation where you got a car going out there and getting retribution, which is a fair point. But my counterpoint to that is they might not do it that day, but they'll just go do it the next race if they really want to do it. So that's my only counterpoint to that. But that is a good point as to why maybe NASCAR has gone to the DVP. Bowman almost becoming a championship favorite, says old home guy. He's having a strong, he's getting hot at the right time. So if you look at sort of Alex Bowman's performance, you can kind of attribute it to some of the Joey Logano championships where they're peaking at the right time and getting hot at the right time. So maybe this is the year that Alex Bowman gets hot at the right time. As we know, Bowman is streaky. So if he gets streaky at the right time, it could be a good thing for him. Hurricane going to affect your weather. It's already affected it. We sat through it pretty much all weekend at Martinsville. We got one sunny day, which luckily that was race day, so we got the race in. But the rest of the time was literally just sitting in the rain and being kind of miserable. So yeah, we got a ton of water. Every body of water is up higher than it would normally be, I guess, is the easy way to say that there. So yeah, and unfortunately, Asheville, which is not super far away from where I live, they have sort of gotten the brunt of it. You cannot even get into Asheville without flying in. So hopefully everybody up there is okay. I got some friends and folks up there, and I know he's okay, but hopefully everybody else pulls through. They're going to have a lot of rebuilding. Mountains are really not set up to take on hurricane-like forces, and then when the hurricane veered off that way into the mountains of North Carolina and other regions, they just were not set up for it as well as other places. So hopefully they get that rebuilt and going on pretty good. Also, sort of off topic as well, but since we're off topic already, Chris Christopherson, we lost him. So rest in peace to him. Great country music and star, and also he's got to. He's also got to. He was an actor in several movies at some point too. So big loss for him as well. We got to repair our porch and siding tomorrow. Yeah. So Georgia, yeah, all the way from Georgia, all the way up to North Carolina, I feel like got hit. So hopefully everybody that was affected by it can rebuild quickly, and the damage isn't too bad. The All Hendrick Final Four is possible, says Joseph Wooten. It is possible right now for sure. What's your winter off-season project? My winter off-season project is to finish all the projects that I started and get them done. So the Fiat is going to be on there. The Nissan car project is going to be on there. And those are going to be the main things because I've sort of got the other stuff that I want to accomplish sort of subbed out to other people. Going to get the lifters hopefully replaced in my truck. Just doing an upgrade. There's not anything wrong with them other than the General Motors deactivation normal lifter situation, but just getting an upgrade to the truck basically. And so yeah, those are sort of my winter projects. The big ones that need to be knocked out. Need to finish building the other studio. You can't see it, but it's technically behind me, behind this wall. So when I finish those projects, hopefully I'll also be finishing that project. So nothing, and and as long as I keep it at that and don't add anything else, hopefully we get all those projects knocked out. But don't hold your breath. And then all the other video projects that I've got on hold. Hopefully with all the craziness in the off season happening during the regular season, I will have time to get to those projects in the actual off season. Rest in peace to Chris. Says Bumblebee, would you ever race a Cletus event? Says old home guy. I don't think he would actually invite me, but if he ever did invite me, I would definitely race one of the Crown Vics. I'm pretty stoked about doing one of those one day. They got a gremlin. I saw something about a gremlin there. I saw a gremlin. He had a gremlin comment, and I'm intrigued. AMC made the gremlin, I want to say. AMC gremlin. Wikipedia. These are all Wikipedia facts. The AMC Gremlin, also known as the American Motors Gremlin, is a subcompact automobile introduced in 1970, manufactured and marketed in a single two-door body style 1970 to 1978 by American Motors Corporation, as well as in Mexico from 1974 to 1983 by AMC's Vehículos Automotores Mexicanos. I said that completely wrong, but I did my best in Spanish there. VMA subsidiary. Using a shortened Hornet platform, didn't know that, so that's interesting, and bodywork with a pronounced cam-back tail, the Gremlin was classified as an economy car and competed with the Chevrolet Vega and Ford Pinto, as well as imported cars, including the Volkswagen Beetle, Toyota Corolla, and the small domestic automaker marketed the Gremlin as the first American-built imports. There you go. There are your Gremlin facts. all you wanted to know, all you need to know about the Gremlin, or however they do it on donuts, or speed as they call it now. Let's see. I saw that Gremlin too, says old home guy. They got a Gremlin for sale at the local feed here. Saw it and I thought of you. Says Bumblebee. That's awesome. AMC Pacer is the car. So there you go. AMC Pacer, very similar to the Gremlin. If you've ever seen Wayne's World, I think that's AMC Pacer, also known as the Windex Mobile because the windows were so big in those. They had to use quite a bit of Windex. So there you go. Looking like we've reached the end of the chat, so I'll hang out here for a few more minutes and see if anybody else wants to say anything. But right now, the poll question with 40 votes is 35% fair, 35% saying fair, but I didn't like it. So I would say probably fair and I didn't like it, or fair. That's so everybody's thinking it's fair, and some people thought it was fair and didn't like it. So that's going to be the overwhelming. But 20% did think it was foul, and 10% said it doesn't happen if not for the playoffs. I think honestly, all of those things can be true. Fair, but I didn't like it, and it wouldn't happen if not for the playoffs. I think all those are pretty fair. And the people seeing it as foul, I feel you because I wanted Kyle Busch to continue the 1 win per season streak as well, but wasn't to be his day. But Ross Chastain did break his winless streak, so you do at least get that. And if you don't like either one of those drivers, well, that's the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. Let's see. I don't see Dodge back in NASCAR with ownership wanting to close everything, says old home guy. Yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for Dodge. They are still very active in drag racing, so they do still see certain motorsports as sort of a venue and an outlets to continue to market their products. But I guess just the overwhelming cost of NASCAR sort of makes them, I don't know, makes them weary to be spending that type of money in the Cup Series, especially if they don't have a strong partner like a Penske or something like that. Because that's really beyond anything else. That's really what held them back is when Penske went over to Ford. They no longer had that tier one type of team that they could build around. They felt comfortable building around. They couldn't get Hendrick or RCR or anybody else like that to switch. So I think without a partner like that, it's going to be hard for them to come in as well. So that's I think there's several factors keeping them out. KB is going to win Dega, says Bumblebee. It could definitely happen. AMC Matador says PC gone rogue. So the Matador, I think it was Bobby Allison maybe that drove the Matador. Maybe Cale Yarborough as well. I know one of them did. It was like red, white, and blue. I think one of them drove a Matador, but I'm not 100% sure. A little bit before my time. I do know of the car which you were talking about though. Hi BB, what up? How you doing? Did you get hit by the hurricane? Nope. Luckily, everything. Well, we got the rain and all that stuff, but everything at my house is good to go. When I got back, like I literally didn't know anything until I got back just a few minutes ago to my house. I watched the race at my mom's house because it was closer on the way back. But just now got to my house and everything's good over here. So literally didn't know until today. Been gone since Thursday. Obviously, as you've seen, there's been no content on the channel since then. Bobby did drive the Matador. So there you go. The Chrysler family was talking about buying it back. Yeah, that's going to be interesting too to see what happens with Chrysler. Can they buy it back from Fiat and all that other stuff? A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in the automotive world right now. Mark Donahue won a cup race at Riverside in the Matador. Yep, Riverside was dominated by ringers, quote unquote, back in the day. And I think the first guy to break that was Richard Petty. So Richard Petty was the first cup guy to step up and say, you're not going to keep beating us on road courses. I think Richard Petty was the one who put an end to that for the cup guys way back in the day, if I'm remembering my history correctly. So I might want to check that one. It was a number 16. I know for sure it was a 16. I think they had some other numbers too. There was maybe like a number 12, but I remember the 16. Red, white, and blue for sure, indeed. All right, that looks like we've reached the end of this one. So I will. I'll work on the regular video. I'm assuming most people are probably watching football right now, which is understandable. So good luck to your football teams. I'll work on the video for tomorrow, and we'll get back to normal because I think that's pretty much the end of it for my late model season. So unless we maybe race at Wilkesboro, but we'll see. All right, back to normal. Thanks for your time. See you later.